Watch KSTV weeknights at 7:30 and 11 Eastern, and anytime with Inside On Demand on Channel 103.
Now we're now into the month of July, and that of course means barbecue and fireworks. But for UK fans, it's also all about recruiting. And we're now happy to be joined on the phone by an expert on the subject, Evan Daniels from Scout.com. Evan, thank you for joining us. How you doing?
I am doing great, TJ. I appreciate you guys having me on.
We're always happy to have you. Now, this is starting probably the biggest month of the year for you, one of the biggest. Take people through the big events in the month of July, where you're going to be traveling around, where the top prospects will be.
Yeah, this year is a little different. The NCAA changed the recruiting calendar, and there is now 3 5-day periods instead of 2 10-day periods, and that all starts on July 11th. But for me, it gets going on Saturday with the LeBron James Skills Academy in Vegas. Spend a couple days out there, and then I'll fly from Vegas to Philadelphia for 5 days for the Reebok camp and the Hoop Group camp, and have a couple days off before Peach Jam and Milwaukee Summer Jam, and then I'll close out the summer in Las Vegas. So it's going to be a busy month. I think I have 22 days on the road, so I'm trying to get my rest now. Yeah,
you buy yourself something nice when it's all done with all those Marriott points you're going to earn, I'm sure. You guys today, of course, released your 2014 rankings, updated list. At the top is Andrew Wiggins. He's a guy that some say is the best player in high school basketball, regardless of class. Has, of course, drawn comparisons to LeBron James. Has very impressive videos online, YouTube mixtapes. Talk about Andrew Wiggins, what kind of prospect he is, and what kind of play Kentucky has in his recruitment.
Well, he's an elite prospect. I am of the belief that he's the best prospect in high school basketball. At 6'8", he's a guy that handles the ball really well, can defend multiple positions, rebounds in and out of his area, and has really developed his offensive ability. I believe he shot close to 40% in the Nike EYBL this year from 3. So, he's really developed on the offensive end, and this is a guy we're talking about with a 44-inch vertical at 6'8" with a 6'11" wingspan. So there's a lot to like about Andrew Wiggins as a prospect, and I think moving forward we're going to continue to see him develop, and he could be one of the better prospects we've seen come out of high school basketball in some time.
Now, there was the debate, of course, of who's the best player since LeBron James when Jabari Parker was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I know you said you think Wiggins is the best player maybe at the moment in all of high school basketball. Do you get into that he's the best player since LeBron, or do you think that that's kind of a ridiculous conversation?
I think it's a ridiculous conversation. I think it's unfair to the kids to even put that on them. Jabari Parker's a tremendous player. He's a 6'7", 6'8" wing with advanced ball skills and can do a little everything. But, comparing him or Andrew Wiggins to LeBron is a little unfair, especially considering how dominant LeBron has been over the past year and years since he's been in the NBA.
Now, 2 other guys in the 2014 class that Kentucky's been mentioned with have local ties, actually. D'Angelo Russell, Dakari Johnson. Russell was on campus recently. They're both in your top 12 on the 2014 rankings. What kind of players are they, and do you think they're teammates in high school right now? Do you think that they could pair together at the college level?
It's certainly possible. You're right, both have local connections. Dakari Johnson is actually originally from New York, but went to middle school in Lexington at Sayre. Now is at Mount Vernon Academy. We have the number 4 overall player in the country, the 3rd best center. About 6'10", has gotten in shape, rebounds the ball extremely well. Actually, averaged more rebounds than anybody in the Nike EYBL league. And then you're talking about a guy, D'Angelo Russell, who's just a tremendous combo guard, and both are working on their list. Neither seem to be really that interested in getting involved in the recruiting processes early. D'Angelo more so than Dakari, as D'Angelo's taken recent visits. Actually took a trip to Kentucky and Cincinnati and a couple other schools here recently. So I think he's focused a little more on it, but I don't see decisions from either anytime soon.
Now, in the 2013 class, the 2 guys that are mentioned with Kentucky a lot are the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron Harrison. No one's really saying that they're ready to commit, but everybody seems to say that Kentucky's the leader there. Do you think that ultimately those guys are going to end up in Lexington, and do you think it's something that could happen pretty soon?
If I was a betting man, I would say that Kentucky is a firm leader for Andrew and Aaron Harrison. They haven't come out and said that, but that's just how I read the situation. Kentucky has done a really good job recruiting them. They keep pointing to the fact that they want to go to a place that can help get them to the NBA as soon as possible. Now, I think they could go to any school and get to the NBA as soon as possible, but with the track record of John Calipari over the past couple years, I would have to think it bodes well for the Wildcats.
Now, they're obviously twins, teammates. They play alongside each other. But how are their games different from each other at the next level? I know one's a point guard, one's a shooting guard, but how are they different as players?
Well, you hit it. Andrew Harrison is a point guard. He's one of the best passers, if not the best passer in high school basketball at 6'5", and he has this combination of size, speed, strength, athleticism, passing ability, and even scoring ability that at times is unmatched. And we're talking about a guy that can play on the ball, but be just as effective playing the two spot and being asked to go get buckets. And he's a guy that I've been thoroughly impressed with, and I think he's got a chance to make a run at Jabari Parker for the #1 spot. And then you look at Aaron Harrison, who he plays pretty much strictly off the ball, and he can really, really score at pretty much any level or any way you want it. You want it at the basket, you can do that. You want it from mid-range, you can do that. Or you want to pull up and take deep jump shots, you can do that. So, it's really a scary duo when you see them on the floor together, and I think they'll be pretty scary to watch it when they get to college.
And it'll be a good starting point, I think, for Kentucky's 2013 class, of course, which a lot of people say could be one of the best ever. A guy mentioned now as a possibility that some interest heating up is James Young. Talk about James Young for people that aren't familiar with him very much, what kind of player he is and where he's at in his recruitment right now.
Well, Young is an explosive athlete. He's a guy that really kind of blew up in April. Plays on the wing, has developed his scoring ability, rebounds, can defend. He has said a couple times that, he's starting to look at the recruiting process a little more, but he's also been fairly quiet with how he's going about it. Kentucky is certainly involved. He has been saying that Kentucky hasn't offered yet, but he has said that Kentucky's a favorite. So I think there may be a little ways to go with the James Young deal.
Well, you say he hasn't offered. Chris Walker was another guy that Kentucky hasn't offered. He's talked a lot about it. With John Calipari with this 2013 class, do you get the feeling that he's being even more selective than he is normally? There are a lot of guys out there that have been rumored to have interest in Kentucky, a lot of options for him in terms of the roster. Do you get the feeling that anything's different about recruiting this time around for the 2013 class?
Well, I think that they have I think John Calipari has put himself in a position where he can be picky and can more or less pick and choose rather than recruit. And I think that there's really no reason for them to be in a rush. They've made it clear that they want Julius Randle. They've made it clear that they want the Harrison twins, and I think they're going after those guys as hard as they can.
Now, quickly, about a minute left. Tony Troca is a mystery man at this point. I know he played a year in Texas at high school. Not a lot known about him. He's been trying to get in the 2012 class. Do you think from what you're hearing, that he will eventually get into that class and end up in Kentucky? And if he does, is he a difference maker?
At this point, I'm not even sold Tony Troca is real.
Yeah.
I say that jokingly, but there's been a lot of talk about him, but not a lot of, I guess, substance would be the word. And no one's ever seen him play in a real high school game. He's said to be coming back over to the United States, but no one has verification of that. I should take that back. Some coaches have seen him play, but no one in my profession has. So, I'll be honest. Information is hard to come by with that one, and the way I read it, I'd be surprised if anything really came of it.
Yeah, and if what John Calipari is saying is true about Willie Cauley-Stein, they might be in better shape with depth than they expected. Evan Daniels, thank you very much. Look forward to talking with you down the line.
Anytime, TJ. See ya.